Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson and this is my Everton review, and it's also a little bit of a look forward to the rest of the season actually, because I think yesterday's result was literally just like the first step on us becoming into the top four, that we had to show that we could grind out a little bit of a result. And do you know what? Everton came and they were better than I expected them to be, and they were still shit, if that makes sense. And we was pretty poor as well, but I think we also have to remember that there's two teams in a game of football, and Everton did very well in what they came to do. They pressed quite high, they pushed quite high with the ball, and they looked to attack using a long ball against Daley Blind using Lukaku, and Daley Blind was up to it 100%. All Lukaku had to do was find space on him once or twice yesterday, and it would have been a completely different result. There was one occasion where he was in the box, and I think he was probably either just inside or just outside the 6-yard box, and all he had to do was just create a little bit of a space, turn and smash it, and he probably would have got it on target, and it probably would have gone in. And somehow, God knows how, Daley Blind managed to keep hold of him, not foul him, and block the shot. And it was fantastic defending from Daley Blind. Very intelligent footballer. Not the most physical of footballers, but upstairs he has got it going on. And I still think he's not a centre half. I still think he's a player doing a job there. I don't even think he's a left back. I do think he is a midfielder. And maybe we should start to see him in midfield if we want to move Carrick on and we want to look at strengthening in different places. And I think a good centre half is probably one that we should look to do. I'd be very surprised if Mourinho is appointed if he doesn't look to try and sign a very big name, first choice, well known centre half in their mid to late 20s, someone 26 to 29 years of age who's going to. It's the safe bet, isn't it? It's a gamble when you move a player out of position like Blind. It's a gamble when you want to look at someone like Fosu-Mensah or Tuanzebe or Roshan Williams or Paddy McNair, even any of these kids that we've got in the academy. It's a gamble to pin your hopes on them and say, let's see if this guy can do it, because although the games that they're playing, they look great, you still know evidence. When you look at Harry Kane, and it was a gamble on Harry Kane after he had one great season, wasn't it? People are like, what if he's a one-season wonder? Can he do it a second year? And that's what you buy when you buy big money, world-class signings. You buy security. You buy people not criticising you. You buy that you've not gambled. It is the safer option sometimes to blow insane amounts of cash to bring in this name than it is to play an 18-year-old with 3 games under his belt. Now that 18-year-old might turn out to be the next Rio Ferdinand. That 18-year-old might turn out to be the next Bobby Charlton. At some point, the next best thing in world football, there's a kid making his debut in the next couple of years that's going to win a Ballon d'Or at 17 or 18. And no one's going to assume at 17 or 18 when he makes his debut that kid's going to go on to win the Ballon d'Or. But he will. He will. Because one day Messi's going to retire. One day Ronaldo's going to retire. The one after them's probably going to be Neymar. He's going to retire at one day, and someday soon there's a kid. I mean, there's probably a 6 or 7-year-old right now that's going to win a Ballon d'Or. It just by mathematical chance, there's bound to be someone of that sort of age that's going to win a Ballon d'Or going forward. But no one's going to be saying that about them just yet. The Timothy Fosu-Mensah rise to fame has been sharp, but not unexpected. Everyone who's clapped eyes on him has gone, that kid is destined for the top. It helps that he's enormous, because he is a big human being. He's tall and he's also very well built. It helps that he's almost a fully formed adult already at 18, because that means he can handle the pressures of big defenders. And there was only a couple of times that we saw him sort of go head to head with Lukaku yesterday, and I made a joke about it on Twitter during the game. This is the battle for the ages, watching these two go head to head. But he's shown with one of the most physical players in the league that he's up to the task. The things that he's got to get now is consistency. He's got to keep his positioning, and he's got to develop a level where he's almost a guarantee to get this performance out of him every single week. And that's the thing that Sir Alex Ferguson always referred to, is the hardest thing to get is consistency from young players. And it's pleasing to see that the 2 players that we've seen quite a bit of are 18 years old this year, one being Marcus Rashford and the other being Timothy Fosu-Mensah, we've seen a fair bit of. Both of those, in the few games that they've that they've played for Manchester United have shown a level of consistency in those games. We haven't seen them come up and have a performance up here, then one down here, then one up here, then one down here. All we've seen is steady performances. And I think that is the thing that makes me think that these lads at 18 deserve to be members of the squad. Now, I'm not saying that they deserve to be members of the first team. I think they've still got a lot to prove, and I think they've got it in them to prove it, but I think they've earned the right to call themselves first team squad members now. As for the future, who knows? Well, let's get back talking about Everton anyway yesterday. So what we saw in the first half, I've seen people saying it was quite dull. I thought we had quite a few chances in the first half. Not shots, but there was chances, wasn't there? There was a definite lack of shots from both sides, but we was getting into the box. It was just a little bit of a lack of a final ball, a little bit of lack of magic in that final third from both teams, and it could have been a massively high-scoring game. But there was chances, because we play a high line, because Everton play quite a high line. They was looking to hit the long ball, and we was looking to hit the ball behind them, which we can do when we've got the likes of Martial, Rashford and Lingard on the side. Now, obviously, Matt's never going to bust a line. He hasn't got that speed in him. But that's the threat that we get when we play those three lads together, especially Marcus. Marcus, even if he doesn't get it and the defender gets it, they're still in danger, because Marcus isn't just going to let you have it and drift back into the position he's meant to occupy as a centre forward. Marcus is like, nah, I'm taking that ball, mate, or at least I'm going to put you under pressure. Oh, you want to pass it back to the keeper? Cool, check this out, I'm going to put him under pressure as well. And that's what Rashford brings. I thought he was the best player on the pitch yesterday. Not because he created anything, because he didn't. He had a couple of shots that didn't really do anything, but he did it in their half and he did it in our half, and he does it with the ball and he does it without the ball. And I think that's an unbelievably great trait for a young player like that. That he's just, it's hard to describe, isn't it? He's fantastic. His enthusiasm and his attitude to playing the game, I've said it before, I think it's infectious. I think that sheer determination, that sheer desire is infectious. Jesse Lingard certainly caught some of it. I think Matt's caught some of it. Martial seems to have stepped up in his work rate and his attitude and stuff just a little bit, and I'm putting that right on Rashford. Joe Riley's another one. If you put him in the team, then that's what you're going to get out of him, and you're going to get that harassing determination out of him, and it's brilliant to see, and I love it. And I hope he's in the under-21s tonight when we go check the under-21 team out, because I love watching Joe play and I love watching Rashford play for that reason. It almost makes me laugh the way they just refuse and they put it on people, and their energy levels are fantastic. You won't be seeing them doing that when they're 32, 33 years old. They are going to have to change the game, but for the moment, while they can do it, let's see them do it. Now, the back line, this is an issue, and I don't know if Rojo's injured or if he was just pulled off because he wasn't having a great game. And I'm not sure how long Blynn's going to be out for. So now we've got a conundrum, haven't we? And I think we have to again look to youth. And I wouldn't be upset to see Smalling and Fosu-Mensah line up against Harry Kane and Spurs next week, because I think they could handle him. And I think the safer option would be to go with the better defenders in the side rather than look to go and try and outscore Tottenham. I think this is a game that we're going to drop points next week. I think City are going to drop points next week because their game against West Brom is sandwiched in between two matches against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. I reckon they're going to take their eyes off the ball. And it might depend on the result in the first leg. If they're still in the tie, then they might massively take their eyes off the ball. But if they're still in the fight, then I would expect Manchester City to maybe just a couple of % take their eyes off the ball, and West Brom's the kind of place that you can go to. And you can get turned over, but I wouldn't expect them to get turned over. I'm going to say City are going to get a point there next week, which puts them on 55. Unfortunately, I think we're going to drop points and probably only get a point ourselves against Spurs away next week, which if you're offering that right now, I'm going to take it. We do have the capability to go to Tottenham and beat them because they are going to come at us. And that is the perfect opportunity for us to hit them with our pace, the same way we did to City. And I think Rashford and Martial could be key to that. I just think we're going to get a draw. I think it's going to be a score draw. I think it might even be a high-scoring draw, like 2-2, something like that. So I think we drop points next week. But I don't think it's the end of the world. Because as I said, I think Manchester City are going to drop points, and I think we can still go on and do something with them. Now I'm just going to pull up Manchester City's remaining fixtures. So as I said, they've got Paris Saint-Germain either side of West Brom, and then they've got Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Stoke at home, Southampton away, Arsenal at home, and then Swansea on the final game of the season. I think there's banana skins all over the place there, especially if they progress in the Champions League. And I'm 50-50 on whether I think they will as well, because Paris are a great side. Paris are playing in an easy league, aren't they? And they're not being tested. And that can either go in your favour or it can go massively against you. I don't think there's any grey area with that. And you don't know what you're going to get until you find it. And you don't know how much emphasis Pellegrini and the Manchester City squad are putting on the Champions League now that the title's pretty much mathematically impossible for them. So you look at, okay, let's say they drop a point at West Brom, they do whatever they do in the Champions League, then they've got Chelsea away. It would do pretty well under the new manager. That's a 50-50 game, I think. I wouldn't expect City to go there and win, but I'm not sure I can see them losing there either. I think this is another draw for them. So they've dropped a draw again. That weekend, we have got Aston Villa at home. That's the sort of game that we've massively struggled against, but I think Aston Villa are so bad this year that's 3 points for us. We can potentially overtake them after the Aston Villa game. Then we've got Palace and Leicester. Well, they've got Newcastle away, which you would expect is a win for them, but on the road, Newcastle actually turn up for once. Anything could happen, I guess, there. And then they've got Stoke at home, the dinner time kickoff. Stoke are right on our heels, actually, in the league. Stoke are up to 8th, level on points with Southampton, only 4 points off West Ham. Stoke are right up there at the moment. Mark Hughes going back as ex-Manchester City manager. That could be another potential banana skin for them. I look at their remaining fixtures and I look at our remaining fixtures, and I think, do you know what? We've got to outpoint them by 1. I think we can win all our remaining home games, which is Villa, Palace, Leicester, and I do think we can beat Leicester, because I think Leicester will pretty much have the league sewn up by then. And I just got the feeling that we'll beat them, because I think the way they play, the way they attack, and I don't think they're changing it for anybody. I think that they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna do it quite comfortably. If you look at the league table at the moment, it is currently 7 points, and if we draw against Tottenham or beat Tottenham next week, then it's going to be 9 points or 10 points, isn't it? With 5 games to go. It's pretty much done by then. Leicester could already be champions by the time they come to Old Trafford. So I can see us pulling a win out there. I really can. And then our away games are Norwich, which should be a win, West Ham, and as I mentioned earlier, Spurs. And I'd be happy if we win 1, draw 1, lose 1 in that, because that would give us, if we win the home games, 16 points from the remaining games. And I just don't see City getting those 16 points. Arsenal at home, that could go either way. Swansea away on the last day of the season, that should be a win for them. Southampton away, that's not necessarily a win. Said Stoke at home, that's not necessarily a win. I look at City's remaining games and I say Newcastle, which isn't necessarily a win for them, is probably their easiest game, Newcastle away. This is not over yet by a long stretch from us. All we've got to do is maintain some sort of consistency and grind out a couple of 1-0s like we have done in the last couple of weeks. In fact, you know what? Leicester are on a 4-game 1-0 grinding out streak, which shows me championship form for them. Yesterday they shouldn't have won. They get the result, they get the 3 points. That's championship form. Leicester are going to win the league this year. Wrap your head around that one. That's absolutely bananas, isn't it? At Leicester are going to do that, but I think that's what they're going to do. Is there anything else that we have to talk about from yesterday? I don't think there is, you know. Again, we win again without Fellaini and Schneiderlin in the team. Schneiderlin, again, underrated performances from him constantly. You know, what he does, it's the invisible work, isn't it? But he does it very well. And he's just like a clean-up operation. He's a one-man clean-up operation in that midfield. And I thought we looked better when Herrera came on. Herrera's got that little bit more desire, that little bit more fight. It's going to be interesting to see how we go, and especially as Wayne Rooney comes back, because he will come straight back into the team, captain's privilege and all that lot. The only person that I think he should be allowed to be dropped for, or that should be allowed to be dropped, is Mata. And I think Mata does some excellent things with the ball. He can go missing at some times when there's a game that needs to be dug in. And maybe Rooney's better than him at that. So if Rooney's going to play in the 10 behind Rashford, I can live with that, because I think the way Rashford has been leading the line has been key to the resurgence of us in the last few weeks. And I think if you drop him to play Rooney and Mata, you're going to lose a lot of the movement. If you put Rooney at 9 and Mata at 10, then that sort of relationship and that fluidity that you was getting between Rashford, Lingard and Martial is gone. That attacking outlet, that pace, that that undeniable determination that we've got, which is putting defences under pressure, which is making them think twice when they want to press high, and the ability to get behind the defence, that's gone. Because even though you've still got Marshall on the pitch, he's on the left, and he's quite deep on the left as well. He's not right on the last man on the left, is he? Rooney's never going to lead the line as a number 9 because he's not that sort of player. So you'll essentially be playing with no number 9 and 2 number 10s in Mata and Rooney, which, with the remaining games that we've got, Villa are going to come and sit, Palace are going to come and sit, Leicester's going to be a pretty open game. Norwich will sit against us at home. West Ham probably be a bit of an open game, and I expect Bournemouth to come and just try and close up shop. I think Bournemouth are safe. Yeah, I would say Bournemouth are probably safe. I think Bournemouth, Watford and Swansea there's a bit of a 3-point gap between them, Palace and Norwich, and then you're looking at the probable downs in Villa, Newcastle and Sunderland. So I would say that Bournemouth probably safe. Last game of the season, I don't think they're going to put up much of a fight. It's first trip to Old Trafford though, so you never know. You don't know what, excuse me, you don't know what's going to come out of that. But anyway, there we go. That is a little bit of a look forward to the end of the season and maybe a bit of a discussion about how we think it's going to go. Let me know in the comments how you think it's going to go. You've had a look at City's remaining fixtures. You've had a look at our remaining fixtures. Let's have a look at Arsenal's actually while we're here and just see who Arsenal have got for their remaining fixtures and see, is there any possibility that we can get above Arsenal? The 5-point gap's probably going to be a bit too much. Now, looking at their remaining fixtures, I think they're probably going to do it, aren't they? They're probably going to maintain above us unless we're looking at a complete collapse of them, and I wouldn't have thought that's likely at the moment, unfortunately. So there we go. We get past West Ham. We make a little bit of a run at this top 4 for the last few weeks of the season. And after the December that we had, we could end up coming out of this on a relative high, couldn't we? Top 4 and an FA Cup trip where we go and win the FA Cup. The way this season's gone, I'll celebrate that. Definitely. So thank you for watching. Drop us anything that you want in the comments, but especially let's get talking about the top 4, because I think I make us favourites now, actually, above City, to take this top 4 off them, even though they've got the 1 point and supposedly the best squad in the league. I make us favourites to go and take this off City now. I really do. So let me know your thoughts about that in the comments. Give it a like. Please subscribe if you don't. It's about 50-50 at the moment. 50% are subscribed, 50% aren't subscribed. So if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. Trying to get to 7,500, and I'll be giving away a couple of caps once I do. So thank you for watching. See you soon.